What's up, everybody? I'm Scott,
I'm Jason.
and you are listening to a very fun episode of Liquid Kernedge. The roles are reversed in this case. For once, Jason is the one at home, and I'm the one on the road.
I know. And after last week with you being sick and just all the technical difficulties, we had to dust off one from the vault, dude. We had to dust it
Absolutely.
off.
That's the funny thing is because last week's episode was actually about party etiquette, and we kept getting cut off so many times on our system. It frustrated us, and we recorded last Monday night.
Yeah.
And we thought we would come back to it either Tuesday night or Wednesday, and I ended up getting sickest I in a long time. I couldn't even record, let alone talk.
And we didn't have like last time. Remember, Stephanie and Tom stepped in when I had laryngitis, and they kind of took it over.
Yeah.
We didn't have that this time, so we had to We had to go to the vault, man. I couldn't even remember the combo to the vault, dude. It was a long time ago.
It's been a while, which tells me we should probably record some other sides, some B tracks, just so we have these in the holster just in case.
Yeah,
just some fun ones.
It was funny because that episode was on my 45th birthday. That's how long ago we recorded it. So. But
it took me a minute to try to even remember what we talked about, getting our notes from Tom. And then, for the last week, I've been getting, texts from people that have listened to the shows, when did you tip a golf cart? And, oh, yeah, that's right, you, O'Brien, slap still. What the fuck are we talking about? I've been so busy trying to recover and get ready for this trip that I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet. It's man, it must have been a good one, but still a bad one if we never actually released it. So...
No, it's doing well. We've had a lot of listens to it, and it's been actually having. I figured that it was a good substitute when we had to pinch hit,
Oh, that's cool, man, and that's a great simile for the season we're in. We were in playoff baseball season.
Oh yeah,
it's travel season for me because I am tonight as we record. I am coming to you from beautiful Rochester, Minnesota.
Wow. So tell me what's in Rochester, don't you know?
Well, besides the Mayo Clinic.
Do you see Paul Bunyan's foot? Or do you see Paul Bunyan's bowl and axe over there,
Oh, it's getting close, man. There's a lot of maple syrup and a lot of nice people, a lot of farms. No, we're up here for a conference at the Mayo Clinic, and it's such a different world than the desert. And it's a beautiful country. Our buddy Dean's from here. And I'll tell you, flying into Minneapolis, they call Minnesota the state of 10,000 lakes.
Yeah.
There's literally a lake on every parcel of land, as you're coming in.
Yeah, I remember Dean's talked about it. Paula went to school there, and he said it was one of the most beautiful states he's ever been. It reminded him of Nepal. It's
flat. Yeah, it's so beautiful, but it's flat. That's what we noticed because my colleague and I that were coming in, that's what we noticed. She was like, "It's very flat here," because being from Arizona, we're used to a lot of literally peaks and valleys, and there were no peaks and valleys in this one. It's all pretty much flat land. It's either trees, cornfields, or soybean fields.
Did you have any snow when you got there?
No, we didn't. And we thought we would because otherwise we would have rented a car from Minneapolis and just drove down here, but we ended up taking a puddle jumper from Minneapolis International, whatever it's called, down to the Rochester International Airport. And it's funny because we got stuck on the tarmac in Minneapolis for an extra hour because of communication issues. So my colleague Ryan started talking to the person sitting next to her. It turns out that lady worked at Mayo Clinic, so she gave us a ride from the Rochester International Airport to our hotels. So it's a very friendly state up here. It's a very there's 4 Ubers, and we got
That's the same as Kingman right there, dude.
It basically is. It basically is, and I'll tell you a funny story. It is this is 2 hours ahead of Arizona time, so it was probably 4 o'clock your time, 6 o'clock ours.
Okay.
Up here in Minnesota, we got done having dinner, and since I was a late addition to this travel extravaganza, my hotel is about a mile and a half away from everybody else's, so I figured, I just walked back because it was nice. It's a nice night out. It's not too cold.
Oh, well, a mile and a half though. That's pretty far.
Yeah, it's a pretty far jump, but I'll be honest, man. I got turned around so quick. I got lost in the middle of Rochester. I pulled up Google Maps. I couldn't figure that stuff out, man. So I paid the $7 for an Uber, Made the guy come pick me up.
Was it on a snowmobile, dude? Please tell me it was on a snowmobile, man.
No, it was close. It was a Honda Civic.
Oh, okay. Well, then... Hey, welcome to Rochester, don't you know?
Don't you know? That's what it turned into, man. I told the guys, like, hey, man, I'm like a mile away. I know that, but I'm tired of trying to figure out what direction my hotel's in. So just take me there.
Oh,
and he was great about it. It's a very well spent $7, and I gave him a 5-star rating, left a great review. So I hope, Simon, if you're ever going to listen, hey, buddy, here's to you.
Oh, good times, man. Good times.
Oh my God, yeah.
That's going to be a fun story. When you look at our lives are made up of pretty much the same mundane little things, right? We brush our teeth, we comb our hair, we go to work, we come home, we work out. So if you write it down day in and day out, it's pretty much the same 10 or 15 things every single day. And this kind of trip is what breaks up that monotony to say, instead of doing the same 12, 15 things I do every single day, now I'm going to do those things, but I'm doing them in Rochester, Minnesota.
Minnesota, yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's really it. It's just being able to do the different things in this world that give you new perspective on life.
Oh, heck yeah.
Because I've never traveled with Ryan before, and we get along great on the road. We're both very personable people, so this is a recruitment convention we're going to, so it'll be very entertaining for both of us, if nothing else.
Well, I think that just having the opportunity to learn something new probably changes that monotony of just doing the same thing, right?
And that's exactly I'm not necessarily in the recruiting field, but I'm a salesman at the end of the day, and that's what recruiting is. And we were going over strategy at dinner tonight, just talking about things, and she was giving me tips on what she does, and I was like, that's fine, because that plays off of what I do, because I would say this or this normally. She goes, that's good to know, because I never knew those things even existed in the sales world. So it's a fine balance. So hopefully this all pays off for us.
Have you seen the Mayo Clinic yet?
Yeah, it's funny. My hotel is right across the street from the St. Mary's campus of Mayo Clinic.
Okay.
So Mayo Clinic is essentially all of downtown Rochester.
So it's huge.
Oh, it's huge. This thing goes on. There are supposedly underground tunnels. There are the hamster tunnels that you could go outside when it's cold out, so you can go through them. Everything's connected here.
Wow.
So it's a very cool world. I mean, and to me, I was talking to my mom earlier, and I said it's Flagstaff, Arizona, but instead of Northern Arizona University, you have the Mayo Clinic in the middle. It's just that in the mountains kind of town, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. That's so
like just a town built around one major thing, and that one major thing is really cool. And we're going to take a tour through there and see if we can get through the tunnels. We have a lot of downtime between this whole conference, so hopefully we get to do some exploring.
I felt bad because one time Noreen went on a conference to Boston, and I had some time off. I took some time off from work, and her son flew up, and we all went to Boston. She had the conference Monday through Thursday, and me and her son were we checked out park, and we went to Sam Adams Brewery.
Oh yeah!
So we saw Harvard. We saw the whole experience while she was in something concert or conference, sitting there going to conference all day long.
And that's half the fun, though. It's but having that conference, I'm sure she got to see a lot of the things in the evening time. Between dinner and drinks, and seeing some of the evening festivities of Massachusetts.
Yeah, we did we came in the weekend before, so we spent Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of touristing, doing stuff, and then during the week when she was in conference, Ricky and I would do stuff, and then in the evenings we'd go Little Italy, or we'd go tour something. So she got to see a little bit of it.
Oh,
she got to see a little bit above it. But yeah, you're right, though. I mean, just those work trips can be a lot of fun, and it's kind of cool that you're going with someone that you with. Have you ever been on a conference where you went with someone where it's like, nah?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Back in my banking days, that happened a lot, where we get stuck going to conferences with people that we had to tolerate.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes you got to go with your coworkers that you really wanted to go with, and then other times you're like, oh shit, I got to go with them. Yeah. And it's okay. I'll take. It's all an experience for me, because the big thing for me is like the department and world I live in, we don't get a big budget for travel or conferences. Like we just don't. So everything for us is if you can find it online, find it online. If it's in Vegas or Phoenix and you can go there in a day and come back, that's what we'll do.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing about, going across the country and doing something like this. So this is a fun experience for me. Just because I haven't gotten to do this in a couple of years. Last time I did this, I was in New York with another friend of ours, Tommy Taylor, for a conference for 3 days. So it's just a cool experience, and
yeah,
October's been such a weird month just because it's always my busiest month, just work wise, because everything in Kingman happens in September and October. Once you hit the Mojave County Fair in the middle of September, I pretty much run until just before Halloween with events, especially with breast cancer stuff.
Yeah.
And being sick last week, I lost out on a lot of that stuff because I couldn't move, so I didn't have to do them. And then this came up, so I had to tell my boss, like, oh, by the way, I'm gone missing stuff this week too because, I'm going to this conference, which she was cool with when she found out we weren't paying for it.
Yeah. Hey, anything free is always good, dude.
That's what it was, man. Like, I went into her office Friday morning and I told her, like, hey, so I got this opportunity. I'm going to go. What do you think? And she goes, well, we can't afford to pay for this. I said, we're not paying for it. The recruitment department. And she's like, have a good time. So.
Wow. Yeah. I think those kind of trips too, the impromptu, like you didn't have time to plan for it. You just have to kind of get ready to go. And I have a feeling you're going to learn all kinds of cool stuff.
Oh, I think so too. And that's the thing is like this is a role that I want to be in, and I'm very intrigued. So I'm asking a lot of questions, and I can do a lot of sales very easily if I sit and I listen to people. I can pair it pretty quick, and get the point across. So that's kind of the idea for me is to sit and learn and just add whatever knowledge base they'll allow me to add to it. And if I help get some recruitment options out of this, that's great. If not, it's a good learning experience. If I get asked to come back and do this again, that's even better.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Sounds good, man. Yeah,
it is, man. But you've been traveling a lot for your job though too.
I've been going to Sacramento, Old Sac Town.
Yeah,
Old Sac. Yeah, Old Sac. I've been going to Old Sac.
Big shout out to Bruce and Old Sac.
Yeah. No, this year alone, I've gone to Atlanta, Old Sac. I think that's it for work. But then I've also Chicago, Maine, and we went somewhere else in April. Oh, I can't remember. We went one other place. So I've traveled like 6 times this year. I've gotten my fill of traveling this year. I've done good.
I'll be honest, man. I lose track of how often you guys are gone because you guys travel a lot, it seems like. So,
yeah. We went to San Francisco. That's right, because we went we went for the surprise vacation. That's where we went. So
that's right.
Yeah, we did go a lot, and I just enjoy it. I was making a recollection though, and kind of an epiphany about myself that when we went to Chicago, it was all these new experiences just coming at me. Oh my gosh, it's so amazing. I love this. I love the experience of seeing new things and going through things. I come back home, and for the first 2 days, I was depressed. Like, wow, man, I got so many like stimulizing of my senses that now I'm kind of, I was kind of miserable for a couple of days. So I learned that about myself. It's like, enjoy the trip, obviously, but don't take it so much that when you get home, you're like all depressed and everything because you're not traveling.
Yeah. You got to enjoy that. And I enjoy the fact that I'm out of town for a couple of days right now. And I get back late, this Thursday night this week. So I'll get back late Thursday night, the same day this is released. And, I've got some stuff to do Friday and Saturday, but then I'm home for a week and then I take off for New Orleans. So in 2 weeks, I'll be recording from New Orleans over the holiday week.
Yeah,
so I can't guarantee we won't have some guests that night because we got some other people coming with us that I don't know what the situation is. Give me like a Monday or Tuesday for us, so we have to be fluid, and it'll be a fun time.
Oh yeah. Well, anytime you go with Bennett and Vicky, you're gonna have a good time. I mean, those people are crazy. I mean, they're fun people.
Oh, they are, man. And I love traveling with Vic because when you go with Vicky, she plans everything for you. You get a text like, what do you think about doing this? Or would it be cool if you do this? It's like, and I'll say yay or nay. And if I say yay, we'll get like within 5 minutes options of how we want to do those things, what's there, what the prices are, what time we want to go. I mean, it's like a planned thing. So it's nice. And
I mean, to me, that's like key, because you need the people who are the organizers who say, do you mind doing this? Do you mind doing this? Do you mind doing this? That's what they love doing. But then you need the people like us that said, hey, I'm game for anything. Oh, yeah. So whatever you plan, even if it's something that I normally wouldn't do myself, I'll go just because, I think that once you get a combination of the person who can plan well and the person who accepts the plan and is willing to do anything, you're going to have a great time. I don't care where you go.
Oh, that's I really don't. And I'll be honest, like if it was, I guarantee what would happen if we were in New Orleans, we'd wake up, go to the bar, drink until we pass out, go back to the room, pass out, wake up and do it again until it's every day, a couple times a day until it's time to leave, because that's just what we think you do in New Orleans. and that's what we've done a couple times.
And there's a lot of people that have the same mindset on New Orleans. That's for sure.
And and I've been there a couple times. So this isn't my first rodeo, but now it's like, all right, well, now let's go to the Tabasco factory and tour how they make Tabasco, and they've got cooking classes. Let's go do that. How about a ghost tour? How about this or that? And I'm like, well, yeah, let's do that, because that saves my liver, and I don't mind not being hungover the entire trip, so that's fine.
Well, and I've learned myself when I'm by myself. See, I'm not very good at the organizing part. I'm better at I just go with the flow, and whatever you coordinate, I'm going to say yes to. Yeah. So I have to really force myself to say, Jason, go look for something, and find that. Whereas Noreen, she's really good. I mean, when we went to the trip in Chicago, dude, she had planned out an agenda that by the end of the 4 days, I was exhausted. And it can make traveling a lot of fun. Oh, yeah. Now, that being said, if you're one of those people that's a stick in the mud, I don't want to do that. Oh, that doesn't sound fun to me. Oh, I don't want to do that. Dude, that's one of my okay, no, I'm not traveling with you.
that sounds like our executive producer, Tom. Growing up with Tom, he's very difficult to travel with. So unless he's traveling by himself, from what I understand.
Yeah, if he travels by himself, he's having a great time.
Oh, absolutely, and so is everybody else.
And the hard part for me is that when you're like one of those type of people, well, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Then why are you here? Like, why are you here? If you don't want to do anything, then why did you come on this trip? Yeah, we've had a couple experiences with that where it's like, dude, why are you even here?
Yeah, generally for me, whenever I decide I'm going to go somewhere, I always Google what is there to do around there if I don't already have an idea of what I want to do. And I find 2 or 3 things that if I'm there for a week, if nothing else, I go do those 2 or 3 things while I'm relaxing, in between relaxing, That to me is a big deal. If you're going out to a new area, check out what the area is, walk around, find one of the cool historic things about it. I've been watching Ghost Adventures October, I forget what it's called, their Halloween special this month. And it's all about like the wrecked ships of the Pacific up in Oregon and Washington. So it's all about this stuff around Astoria, Oregon.
Oh,
all these different haunted houses and whatever else.
Wow,
and
cool.
I never, and that's where they filmed the Goonies. I never would have thought about going to Astoria, Oregon. But after watching this, just to see the history, and it's a little bit like Portland, where it's got like the trap doors and the people who used to be, put through them and sent into human trafficking. But it seems like it has this cool vibe, so it makes me want to travel out there and just go check it out and see what it's all about,
I've been to Astoria, and it is an older town, but it's right on those rivers. It's like on a river waterway, and they have a huge tower on top of the hill in Astoria that when you go up to the top, it's like a 200-stair tower that you can walk up to. You can see the whole valley and the whole city. It's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's just things like that. Like, so when you see them on TV or any of those travel shows, you get the opportunity. You should go and take those opportunities and just see what it's about. Pick 1 or 2 things so you don't blow your load the entire time. Give yourself a reason to come back.
And I got to tell you, when I went to Maine, that was one of the toughest things for me because while I was there to see my daughter, there was where my daughter and her boyfriend were. I don't want to say that they don't like crowds, but Maine is a slightly populated state, and
Yeah.
so they just don't deal well with
Crowds are
crowds and doing
crowds are
stuff.
at a premium.
Yeah, and so there were times where, like one night, it was 4:30. We had spent the day together, and they got home and said, "Well, we're going to be in for the night, so we'll just talk to you tomorrow." So I had to break through because I'm not like this. But I looked up. I went to looked up a tavern in downtown Augusta. I went there, had a couple beers, was feeling good, talking to the bartender. I said, "Dude, if I wanted to see a lighthouse, like, where's a good place to go?" He goes, "What, are you kidding me?" And he gave me like 3 places to go. I drove out there and I walked out by myself. I just went and saw the lighthouse. It was dark by then, but the light was still, working, and
Go.
it
Oh
was like
yeah.
an experience. Just, I was like, man, I just did that. I mean, I'm not big on those kind of like find something to do. Like, I'm better at, you tell me what to do and I'll be anxious to do it. So you're right, man. The experience of doing new stuff and doing some research, and now with your phone where you can look all that stuff up like
Oh
right
yeah.
on your fingertips, it makes a difference.
Oh yeah. So let me ask you this: do you think at some point everybody should take a vacation by themselves if they
Um,
have the opportunity? If you have the opportunity, should you take a vacation by yourself, even if it's like an extra day or two on a work trip?
I mean, how about this? I, I I would say, do I think everyone should? If you can all help it, I would say no. If you can't help
Mm-hmm.
it, like my mom, she's single. So if she wants to go somewhere, she has to go by herself. I don't know. I gotta say, when I was in Maine, there were times where I was by myself, and all I can think about is it would have been cool to experience this with someone else.
Yeah.
Not, I mean, I still had a good time, but it would have been cool to have someone else to kind of back off, to bounce ideas off of and stuff. So now, what I do think is every once in a while, maybe like a retreat where you're not going on vacation, but you're going to the camp or do something by yourself where you're not having to do like fun activities, but you're like maybe getting in touch with yourself. That I could
Uh-huh.
see. I could see. How about you? Do you think that people can go on?
Same thing.
Not really. Like, for example, the trip to Maine, it did give me some opportunities to be by myself, where I
Uh-huh.
wasn't doing fun things. But I wouldn't have wanted to go to Chicago by myself.
Yeah, that's true. I
I
don't.
mean, I
I
just
guess
wouldn't have. Like, would you want to go to New Orleans by yourself?
now it wouldn't bother me.
It wouldn't. Okay. So you'd be okay.
Not because I've been there a few times. It wouldn't bother me because I know like the places I've been. I think it'd be cool to go see, maybe touch some of those places, touch bases there. But there are so many other things that I know I want to go see that maybe someone else wouldn't be as interested in, that I would be okay with just going on my own to go check out museums or some of the restaurants, you know.
Yeah, I
And
think.
and and, I, and
Go ahead.
something that the nice thing about going with like Chris and Vicky last year is because we're out till all hours of the night, but I'm still inherently programmed to wake up at 7:30 in the morning at the latest. So even if you go to bed at 4, I'm still up at 7:30. I'd get up, take a shower, and I'd go roam around until they woke up, and that'd be maybe 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's almost like having your own vacation within a vacation with people, because you got to go do all these things.
Said, I would much rather go on a place by myself than go with someone who I can't stand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I've had those trips where it's like, I really wish I was just by myself because you are killing me here. You're killing me.
Yeah.
In fact, I might even go as far to say, if you're looking for a significant other, go on a trip with them. If you can survive a trip
Early
with
on.
them, yeah,
Early on.
go
Go with them
go
early
on a
on.
trip like a weekend trip. Like, I like the ones where you go like on a cruise for a weekend because you're locked in. You can tell real quick whether they're a good travel partner. And if you can't travel with them, I cut the cord. I don't care what they look like. I would
And
cut
I'll
the
be honest
cord.
with you, man. If they can't hold it together for a weekend, that says something more about them than you. So, or
No,
if you
but
can't even hold it together for a weekend.
that's what I mean. I mean, it could be that, like for example, if you go on a trip somewhere and you are staying with them in a cabin or something for 3 days, like one of the cabins on the boat, you can learn a lot about someone very quickly, whether or not you're going to like them. And if you can't travel with someone, this is my one piece of advice to all the people listening to this podcast. If you go on a trip with someone and you can't stand traveling with them, cut it. I wouldn't even worry about dating them a second time, man. Cut it now.
Yeah. Let me also preface that with you should also be self-aware at this point in our age, because I think all of our listeners are mostly older. When I say older, I mean older than 30 years old.
Yeah,
for the most part. Have some self-awareness about what your faults are, and try to work on those a little bit, and try to be a little more open-minded too.
Yeah. I try new things. I mean, there's some certain things I won't try because I just I don't know why. For me, jumping out of an airplane, it's just nothing. No. I would be more than happy to go with Noreen to the place. I will sit and videotape her as she's falling out of the sky. I just don't want to go. I just don't want to go.
I will go with you there and sit and watch with you, because I have no desire to jump out of a good airplane.
But then again, knowing me, I'd probably feel bad that she was going up there and I was sitting on the ground. So I'd say, screw it. Hook it up, buddy. Hook me up with Jock, and let's do this.
Fuck. I'll wait for both of you at the bottom then. That's fine with me.
Exactly. So what are you going to do tonight after the podcast, or after we record?
Playoff baseball's on. I just realized that my hotel room does not have Fox Sports for the Brewers-Dodgers game, because we are 2 hours ahead here. So as I look at my clock, it is 6:45 Arizona time, 8:45 here in the great state of Minnesota. I will probably return some emails, see what's on TV. It's the opening night for basketball, so I think the Thunder and Warriors are on later on, so I'll watch them, if nothing else.
Well,
it's a pretty mellow night for me.
I was going to say, you might just have to go to a sports bar and try to meet the locals, Maybe you can go try to do some ice fishing or something.
I did that earlier, actually. Well, we had dinner. We went to a sports bar and we sat and we talked to the locals. And it's a very diverse group here. There's either you work for Mayo or you're a farmer. There's no in between.
Oh, Wisconsin's the dairy farmers. Okay, I was going to say, wait a minute, aren't they dairy cows? Yeah, okay, that's funny.
It's corn and soy out here is apparently the thing. But
oh gosh, man. Well, you know what, Scott, I can honestly say to our viewers or to our listeners that you and I have traveled on a few trips together, and we travel well, man. So when we do plan the Liquid
Great American road trip.
Yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun.
I look forward to that, man. And honestly, I still stand by the fact that if we can get us and a few others, if we're not going to do that 77-pack of Natty Ice, which is only $30 by the way, it's 30
crazy, dude. It is more expensive to buy 77 Pepsis than it is to buy 77 Nats, dude. That's crazy.
That's how you know this is a terribly great idea.
Jeez.
I am all about flying somewhere across the country and just renting a car and coming back, man. I say just see what happens.
Hey, I think it's important. I think it's definitely important. So, I guess we turned this into, hey, how you doing? What are you up to? We have a podcast about travel.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us what your favorite place to travel is? Where's your favorite vacation spot? Hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, all at Liquid Kernedge. If you think Tom would be the greatest travel partner, here's a spoiler: he's not. Hit him up at liquid_EP and tell us what you think or where you would like to go travel with Tom.
Wow. So, couldn't have said it better myself, my friend.
We'll get some producer's notes on that, I'm sure. But in the meantime, Jason, take us home.
Hey, Scott, have a safe trip. Enjoy your time in Rochester, Minnesota.
I will. You betcha.
Scream out to all the Minnesota people out there. We love you. Thanks for listening. That was Scott. I am Jason. And as always, if you never know quite what to say, just have yourself some Liquid Kernedge.